Or it's not necessarily a person or a thing. It's a time in our lives. It's a season that we've since passed that is still deeply affecting us. And many of us believe, well, it's in the past. It's in the past. Let's leave it there.
Right.
But their past is laying a foundation for who you are, how you deal with your interpersonal relationships. Your mental health is very much connected to your past and how that created who you are. And so many of us just don't want to deal with the pain of looking at the past, quite frankly.
Yeah, and we'd like to think that it's in the past, so just leave it
so
there.
It's over, right?
It's over, just leave it there.
Right, just leave it.
But we can't escape the fact that our past still influences our present.
Right.
And the way we experience people, situations, even just activities or things that we do, how we present ourselves, all of that is influenced by our past, because the past very much makes us who we are. It's our story.
Yeah, certainly.
You know, and I think that sometimes people want to just ignore that part of their story, but one of the ways that I look at it with people is that if you're kind of reading a novel and you just ignore one of the chapters, you just take a chapter out.
Right. Doesn't make
There's
sense
some things that don't make sense,
yeah.
Right? And also putting that chapter in a way that is traumatic also doesn't make sense. So in counseling, we say we can put it in, and we can reframe it, we can reprocess it, we can look at it differently, so it fits your story in a way that doesn't hold you back anymore.
Certainly.
And your story makes sense.
Certainly. Is it okay if I speak to one of my own experiences?
Sure.
You know, that last point you made so much sense for me in my process towards becoming a professional counselor. A lot of the coursework I did required me to kind of move into those spaces in my life, my past, dealing with my pain, dealing with some of the broken personal relationship dynamics that were going on in my life, and that idea of just kind of that book, the story, your narrative. And one of the things I did was a family of origin study. I had to talk to my mother about some of her story that predated my birth, and we sat down, we talked for about 90 minutes. I probably knew 90% of what she had already told me. But I had gotten it in bits and pieces.
Right.
I had gotten it out of order. It wasn't I didn't get it, in a perfect sequence.
Right.
Maybe 10% of what she told me was brand new information. But having encapsulated all at once, really dealing with it in a more focused way, painted such a more clear picture of who my mother was, how that affected who I was, and our relationship dynamics. I was able to empathize and sympathize for her in ways that I hadn't been able to for decades.
Give you a different perspective
Gave
on
me
the
an
whole
entirely
picture,
different
because you saw it
perspective.
as a whole.
Because I saw it as a whole, as opposed to just reading a chapter or a paragraph here or
You
there.
were able to see the whole story.
I was able to see the whole story come play out in its continuum. It made a huge difference in my relationship with my mother. A positive difference.